Well, on that note, we'd like to get to required game number 2.
Yep.
Which is...
I don't know, what is it?
Shit,
come on, guys.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That is our next pick. And that's because it is gigantic, first off. It has a great countryside and has just the best characters I think Grand Theft Auto has ever had.
Yeah.
I like 5's characters also, but I just...
The side characters, though...
Yes.
Yeah, the side characters
I love
San Andreas' characters.
I love the time period, early 90s, gangster shit. I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
The
soundtrack's awesome.
Probably one of the best soundtracks ever in a game. Mm-hmm. Anything from early 90s that you like is probably in there.
Yeah. Especially for us, because we grew up in the 90s and that was like...
Yeah,
all that
what
music,
we listened to.
Yeah, that we grew up listening to, so... That's what made it so good, and,
I didn't play it a lot, so I'd have to say, I don't have a huge, the gameplay was this or that, but I did watch the story more than once, because you played the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And I have to say the story and the characters are what I think makes it required for me, because, I don't know, it's just, it was enticing. It's a game that I wanted to watch more than once.
Another good thing about it is each game in the series, since they came out with 3, they made a huge step forward. There's 3, and then there was Vice City, which took a huge step graphics-wise, gameplay-wise. I mean, the map didn't really get much bigger, but the story got better, the characters got better, the character acting got better, the soundtrack took a huge step forward. And then with San Andreas, they kind of added like a bunch of role-playing elements where your character can like lift weights and get like buff, or like eat a lot of food and get fat, do like cross-country running and shit, and lose weight, and it's like a lot of character development. And the more stuff you do, you're like shooting, the more you get better with a specific gun, your stats go up.
Yeah, you're dual-wielding pistols, and you got the Uzis, you can dual-wield those, and when you get that AK-47 all the way up, that's it, like, you're ultimate in it. But just where it takes you in the game, like, I think it's the only story where it takes you around in this giant state of San Andreas, and it stays on point, and it loses track of where it's going only for a moment, and then just when you're thinking, hey, what's happening with the story, it brings you right back. And I think there's only a couple missions in it that are slightly frustrating that you have to do, but there's a goofiness to all of it. It still stays this kind of goofy thing that you wanted out of Grand Theft Auto until it switched into this more realistic thing.
Like with 4, it kind of got more realistic, and then that's where like Saints Row kind of took over where San Andreas left off with the more zaniness.
Yeah. And then they overdid it. Like, 4 overdid the seriousness in Grand Theft Auto. And I think that's where 5 came back and had that nice balance of having the fun and craziness, but at the same time having that serious story going on.
Such self-destructive main characters.
Right.
But having a jetpack, you break into, what was it, area, like...
51?
It's not Area 51.
Their version.
It's probably like Area 69 or something stupid like that, but because that's Grand Theft Auto. But you break in, you steal a jetpack, and then all of a sudden you're running around with the jetpack.
Yeah, and you need the jetpack to get some of the things, like on top of the bridge in San Fierro to get
Easter egg.
The collecting was
there were so many, like the tags, the horseshoes,
it was endless what you could do.
The clams and shit, you had to go underwater, and
yeah, because that boosted your gambling ability, was getting the lucky horseshoes and stuff.
Yeah.
Doing the gang tags, you'd get weapons at your crib and stuff. Like, if you did all the stuff in that game, like, you were rewarded heavily. Like, you couldn't get
I wish they would do something like that again. I mean, that game made you feel like you did shit when you played it. Like, if you accomplished shit, you got shit at your house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. That was the one where you have the button presses for the cars, right?
Yeah,
and
where
the
you
dancing.
do the lowrider.
Yes.
The lowrider.
I love doing that.
You could gamble nonstop in that game. You gamble for the lowrider stuff. It had the casinos. It had all this
The
really cool
dancing
stuff.
too. I got
Yeah, take your girls out on dates.
I forgot about the dancing and the dates. Yeah.
Take your girlfriend on a drive-by. Like, it was so cool.
It was neat like that.
Yeah, when I was getting the footage, I forgot all about the hydraulics, and I stole a car that had the hydraulics, and I went to use the camera to look around, and next thing I know, my car's all hopping all over the place.
So it did have its bugs a little bit. There was a few things. It was the first time in a Grand Theft Auto that you had the dual stick controls where you manipulated the camera and everything while you're driving. And the shooting wasn't perfect yet. It was kind of sloppy, but even if you go back and play it now, it still plays fine.
But there was one aspect that was really good and really interesting that a lot of games should take note of is the whole gang, how you can like get higher and like recruit more people in your gang to like come help you out and take over your areas. And it's just like, I mean, you see some of that like later on in the Saints Row games. You got your homies help you out, but you can like actually recruit big amounts of gang members to like come help you take out areas and take areas back. And
if you went and got a band, you could have like 5 or 6 people following you at one time.
Yeah, you could have like a carload of people following you doing whatever, and then like, and it's another thing how they had like your gang zones and people take over your zone and you take over their zone to get your zone back. And
yeah, that kind of reminds me of Infamous Second Son, like taking over the areas and stuff like that, and that's kind of where that did a good point of going from place to place, and San Andreas was kind of like that and had that like fulfilling moment of taking over somewhere and making it safer to do stuff in.
And that's the other big thing too. You know, this game had a lot of controversy in it, but the
hot coffee mod.
Yeah, the
hot coffee.
But the ultimate goal of the game was, you know. So it's about Carl Johnson. He goes back into the ghetto. He wants to help out his brother with what's going on in the ghetto.
His mom dies and he has to come by.
But he's treating it like it's just a gang thing. And then once, you know, Sweet's saying it's much more than that. He's trying to get the streets clean from the crack and whatnot because he's trying to fix the streets. He's not trying to just kill a bunch of people for the sake of killing a bunch of people. And that's what you kind of learn in the story. And once you do this thing where you get out of the ghetto and you're making all this money and you're this big time gangster and you get back to the ghetto and Sweet's free, he's telling you, no, you missed the point of the entire thing was that we were supposed to be liberating their neighborhoods and whatnot. So then it turns into this, now you're taking over the gang territory, not to just take it over and make money, you're doing it to save the neighborhood. And you're actually trying to save what is Los Santos from the corruption and the gang violence and the crack and everything that's going on.
And another cool thing is the talking about the death of the mother or whatever. In GTA 5, there's a good throwback when you gather up all the hidden scraps of the notebook papers that are scattered around.
Yeah, for the secret mission.
For the secret mission, yeah. Those scraps lead you to the actual, like, death of CJ's mother. That's what that's all about. And that's like an interesting throwback to, you know, back to San Andreas and kind of keep continuing it going.
But I mean, the game was an inspiration. It inspired Saints Row. It inspired the whole idea of just taking over territories and how big an open world could actually be realized and what you'd be able to accomplish by putting into a game. The graphics weren't great, but it executed just non-stop fun from start to end. And the whole game was almost basically a giant tutorial for everything you could do in the world.
Right.
Yeah, and when I played Vice City, I didn't think it could get better than that. I mean, I'm flying helicopters, listening to Michael Jackson, and just shooting up shit, driving around in like all these 80s cars. And
then we were flying planes and parachuting while Eazy-E was playing in the background. Like,
right.
Yeah. Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, all that old shit.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Brings to a next question. Who's our favorite character? If we do, since it's kind of a big part of what the story was about. I'm gonna say Ryder was my favorite character. Just he was really charismatic.
I like Ryder. Yeah, he's like loosely based on Eazy-E, you can tell. But he was a good character.
All those guys were kind of based off of NWA guys.
And it made them good characters.
It did make them good characters because they really just ran with that, like what everybody thought those kind of guys were. I'm gonna say I can't remember what the character's name is, but James Woods plays him.
Oh, the cop?
It's
Or-
like
the FIB agent.
yeah, Trino or something
Yeah.
like that.
And Morgan
so,
Freeman
yeah.
is the other. Or,
No,
I'm sorry,
no,
Samuel Jackson.
played Tenpenny.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite
Who
characters.
is a great character.
Tenpenny, yeah. And his partner, who was played by Chris Penn.
Yeah.
A lot of good
Pulaski,
voice
yeah.
acting, yeah.
Yeah,
Pulaski.
very good. Who's the rapper?
Oh, OG Loke.
OG Loke.
OG Loke
That's
was
one of my
one
favorite
of the best.
characters.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
memorable character.
He was hilarious
You had
at all times.
Woozy Moo, the
Yes!
blind,
Oh!
the blind
Woozy Moo,
triad
yeah.
member.
I don't know
You're-
why I forget about Woozy.
You're racing against him, and he's like crashing his car in the back while you're taking off.
He was a really
throwback
fun
to,
character.
GTA 3 with what's her name?
Everybody in the hood know ballers. Not exactly
Nice face.
premium
Name.
liquor.
Shabba-dabba-da-da.
I can't remember her name. That crazy Latina chick from Grand Theft Auto 3. And then the character from Grand Theft Auto 3.
It's been a while.
It has been
So-
a long time.
Man, you can smell a crack.
Yeah, when did that
It'll
even
come to you
out?
randomly.
Isabella or something?
Isabella. Oh, she was in 4 too. Well,
No, that was
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth,
She
yeah.
was the one that was in 4.
I can't remember the girl's name. She's crazy though. Like it's Caesar's cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's crazy though, but she's from GTA 3 and she makes an appearance in the
I
guy
like
from
Caesar
GTA 3.
too. I love Caesar. He's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, Caesar's
know.
a cool guy.
And
The Truth.
The Truth, yeah. It was played
Yeah.
by.
I forgot there were so many
There's so
characters
many
in this
yeah.
game.
The Truth is kind of like a throwback to the Easy Rider movie because it was Dennis Hopper and the other
Yeah.
guy. It's the other guy that played the Truth, which was kind of more like a Dennis Hopper character back in Easy Rider, which was kind of cool to me because Easy Rider was one of my favorite movies back in the day.
And that's what was so cool about some of the older GTAs that I think a lot of people don't get is that they're kind of loosely based and put together in all these other like great movies of their time.
Like Vice City had the Scarface moment in that.
Exactly. Vice City had that whole Scarface vibe going on in it, and then
And
San Andreas, it had loosely it had the whole NWA thing.
thing.
It had that movie with
Boys in the Hood.
no, it was the one with Chris Rock. I can't remember, but where he's pretending to be a real gangster, or whatever. That's kind of what OG Loke is kind of based off of.
The
fake gangster.
CB4 or something
Yeah,
like that?
something like that. Yeah. But I mean, there's all those great kind of like movie tie-ins and whatnot that just
Yeah.
make it really
I think
cool.
5 kind of does that too, but it's almost like making its own movie instead, which I like about it a lot in comparison. But yeah,
That's for a different episode, though.
right. So what was our favorite part, which is kind of hard because
When you
so much happened.
There's so many favorite parts.
when you steal the jet and Torino is basically telling you this is one last really easy mission, it's gonna be no problem, and then all of a sudden you're flying a Harrier jet, and it's really hard to control at first, and you gotta do like this big epic like shootout with these other planes that are Harrier jets chasing after you. It's crazy, and
then
the entire time CJ's bitching about it.
and also the mission where you get the jetpack.
Yeah, that's awesome. Getting the jetpack's so great.
Yeah.
I have to say, the end, kind of, where you get with Sweet himself, and spoilers, but you know, you find out who the other guys really are, is kind of a big deal, because it hit you from the side, because you thought these were homies, you thought this was supposed to be like a mentality that everybody was on the same page, and then you kind of find out family's all you got.
Yeah.
And it makes a big statement that way.
Money talks and people walk.
Right. It really makes a big statement that you end up being you and your brother in the end. And basically anything to me with side characters, like we said, Woozy, The Truth, Caesar, you know, they create good fun moments sometimes.
I also love the whole kind of Ocean's 11 thing they got going on, where you got to set up that huge heist at the one
The
of
casino.
Yeah, at the casino.
Yeah.
I love that. That was
one of my
such a
favorite
fun
parts.
mission.
It's not necessarily a mission or anything, but it's just the whole period after shit goes down with Tenpenny and all the riots break out, and you just see everybody running around, just randomly shooting, looting, carrying, running around with TVs.
LA riots.
That was just a fun part of the game. Even if you weren't on a mission, you're just free running around and just crazy shit happens. Like, I remember just driving and a plane just falling out of the sky, landing and just exploding in front of my car. And
it was just a really epic good time. Like, you couldn't, at that time, I don't think anybody wasn't playing San Andreas.
No, everybody was. Another good thing about it is it had some of the best cheat codes, too.
Yeah, that was when GTA still had really good cheat codes, too.
And one of them was to do the riot cheat at any time during the game.
Which made it so much fun.
I used it all the time after I beat the game and I missed the riots.
Yeah.
How the hell was a riot going to cause a plane to fall out of the sky, though, is what I was wondering.
Molotov cocktail.
Are they
Low-flying planes.
I think that was the first one that you could actually fly like jumbo jets, too. Actually, I think it was the first time you could fly jets. I mean, there was like the Dodo in the first one. And
small planes.
But like you had like the jumbo jet, the Harrier, and fighter planes, and
It also had its first little bit of co-op in it too. I mean, it wasn't great, but you know, it was okay to jump in there with a buddy and just mess around for a bit.
Yeah, you could play the like girlfriends
yeah,
and
I
stuff,
completely
too,
forgot
always.
about that.
Yeah, it's a
I did too.
It's a very
yeah, it's where you could like jump in, like one person's driving, the other person's shooting out the car.
Yeah, it's very, very small, and it's not great at all, but it was something, and had a lot of fun messing around with that, especially with the stunt jumps.
And then I found out I can't shoot or drive, so
Stunt jumps have always been like a staple in that franchise, though.
yeah.
And that was one of the ones that had like the flatbed trucks that carried the cars. Like had the ramp on the back.
Loading one of those up and then just dropping off onto the highway and letting everything just hit it and blow up was just fun
I think
times.
that was a great part about it too, is it had the country and the city areas, and it felt like there was so much
I like
going
it that there was 3 whole cities and like the entire county around them, and all the small towns. You go to a small town, you'll see some redneck driving a tractor, listening to like Hank Williams or something.
on. Right.
And in the city, you know, people be listening to like whatever, like mostly
Like
Los Santos
popular,
radio and.
Right?
I actually surprisingly cared about the car mods in that one too, which
Oh, man.
were actually pretty fun and neat. Like,
Yeah, it's been hard to find until Saints Row 2 came out. Car
Yeah.
modding wasn't.
very, you
Anything.
didn't really care too much about making your own car,
Yeah,
but
I think San Andreas, GTA 5, and Saints Row 2 are the only games I've ever really cared about modding my car in an open world experience.
And one of the parts in San Andreas when you're modding cars that at first thought it like doesn't seem like a big deal, but like upgrading your stereo system
The bass boost.
and getting the speakers in the back, if you got like a good surround sound and all of a sudden you're driving around and your car's just bumping and people's like looking at you, you're like getting attention and people's like yelling at you and shit. It's like that's some good stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, the whole idea of just having that like respect and the sex appeal and whatnot, and having
that
characters in the street just kind of noticing that you're.
Pull up next to a hooker, your car's bumping, and she'll be, hey baby, and she'll walk up to your car, and then you can take her into an alley and, you know, do her, and then kill her and take your money back.
which is what
everybody
Grand
has
Theft
to do
Auto's about.
once when you're playing in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, but yeah,
So,
that's San Andreas.
and
Game
why it's
2.
required. So thank you for joining us. Check us out on our YouTube channel, on Twitter now, and our Facebook page, All Required Gaming. And it'd be pretty easy to find us. Also, you're on Twitter as Gur Defense Mode.
No, Twitch.
Oh, I'm sorry, Twitch.
I'm on Twitch at Great Defense Mode. Follow me. I do a lot of gaming, so if you want to come in, check it out, hang out. I'm playing Bloodborne right now, but I throw in some MKX and some other stuff every once in a while too. But I'm Great Defense Mode.
I'm my Moosey Fate.
And I'm HLZ Punk.
We'll see you next time.